So some of you guys have probably gotten leads on this Bancroft deal, right? Yes, no, you probably have. Okay, it's $500,000 house in 92102, technically in South Park, like absurd price for this property. There's no pictures inside. I don't know how to make this bigger, Brian. Is it gonna work? Okay. So $500,000 single family house in South Park, like it's an absurd price. But this is a good example, like this is an on-market deal right now. So I went through this with, Corinne, this was yours, right, that you were looking at? Okay, so we're looking at this particular property. I'm gonna take this out. So on this particular property, we looked at the size of the house, figured out that we had and this is flip.kylewhissel.com, so you guys can access this. You just fill in the yellow cells, don't fuck with anything else or I'll kill you. I think I protected the rest, hopefully. So all you need to do is put in initial purchase price, the rehab budget, the after repair value. Then you're gonna put in the hard money details if there are any. You're gonna put the commissions in. If you had to do like cash for keys or anything like that, you put that in. If you had to give a credit or you think you're gonna have to give a credit to a buyer to get a deal done, you're gonna put that in. At the end of the day, this will take everything, it'll figure out. So let me just put a number in. Let's assume we could actually buy this at 500, which you can't, but. So if you bought this thing at 500, you did hard money at 3 points, 65% loan to value, 10% rate. We assume 2.5% commission on the resale, 2% to the other agent. So that means you need $175K down. You're gonna get a $325,000 loan. Closing cost, roughly $5K. Hard money points, almost $10K. This bonus, I could probably take that line out because that was something my friends and I used to use when we did this. And then I have it automatically calculate. I think I just have it set to $200 a month for insurance. You have to get different insurance when you're flipping property. It's not traditional insurance, so it's a lot more expensive. Then this figures in property tax. What's the hard money payments? Most of the time, hard money payments are interest only. You're usually not paying interest on that. And then I threw like $100 for utilities on. Then this takes the rehab cost, adds a 10% buffer onto it, and then it figures your sale costs, closing cost, all of that, and then it gives you numbers of how much you could expect to net. So if you held for 3 months and we were able to turn it 6 months, 9 months on it. So this is a calculator. All you guys have to do is plug in yellow numbers and it spits out green numbers, which is what your clients want. And we figure it both on a dollar amount basis and on a cash on cash return basis. So if you could buy this at 500, and we figured an ARV at 890 on it. I think it was the number that I was given. So assuming all this is accurate up here, this is what it returns down here. On a full gut rehab like that looks like a total beater where there's no interior pictures, it's probably a pretty heavy rehab. So 3 months is, in general, 3 months is probably gonna be somewhat unrealistic in this market. 6 months is probably where I would focus on most flips, potentially even 9 months right now, just because getting labor is tough, market time is taking longer, so I would lean more towards 6 to 9 months in this market. So in this scenario, this would make a lot of sense, but the reality of it is there's no fucking way you're buying this for $500,000. So what you could figure is, let's say we had an investor who wants to make $75K on the deal. All right, well, let's start plugging in some numbers and figure out like where do we need to be to get this for our investor. Whoops, one too many zeros. So if you bought that for $650, put 100 in, ARV was 890, 6 months you're only making 35 grand. So that's probably not enough. So you can play around, right, and figure out like where do we need these numbers to be in order to hit what we want. So let's say we wanted to make 50K on a 6-month hold. So the right offer price on that property would be $635. So you guys can play around with the yellow numbers to get the green numbers that you guys ultimately want, but this is a pretty plug and play calculator that you guys can play with. flip.kylewhissel.com.
If you delete the 3 numbers that are in the hard money details box, will it just show as a cash
basically
deal?
Yeah, so that's a good question. No, it won't break it. So this is assuming hard money. So this is important to look at. Let's just really key in on this number down here of $51,000. So if we take out We're not going to pay points. You don't even have to take the other numbers out. No, that's the points on the loan.
So what's the rate?
I put it at 10%. So if you take all the hard money details out, this would show you what it would look like on a cash deal. So I'll add a note in here to just delete these numbers on cash. But you'll see that jumps from 51,000 to 84,000. So do the math on that. It's $33,000 that the hard money would have cost on this deal, between the points, the carrying cost, and all of that. So if you ever want to work backwards and figure out the difference, this is where it can be tough. If you have an MLS deal and you're using hard money, you pretty much don't have a chance. Because a cash investor can come in and pay, if they want to make 50 grand, you could only pay 635 using hard money. But if they want to make 50 grand, they can come in here and pay probably 665 and make roughly the same amount of money. Because they can come in and offer $30,000 higher than you because you're having to pay all these hard money costs and they don't. So more often than not, hard money tends to get used on off-market deals where you're not competing. In that property, that's an open competition. You're going to be competing against every flipper in town, most of which have massive amounts of cash, literally stacks and stacks of hundreds of millions of dollars. So it's going to be really hard to compete on an on-market deal with hard money. Usually it's got to be an off-market deal where there's no competition.